During COVID, like the sales picked up a lot, decided to exit that brand. I could basically buy an apartment in Vancouver. They seem to have the largest pool of buyers. They do a free audit of your business. So if you're curious what your business would be evaluated at,
I would filter, I would almost filter people based on the reviews. And I will simply take a look at, from the lowest reviews, how much money they're doing. Because if the low reviews can make money, that's a really good sign. Now, if everybody, let's say, who has less than 100 reviews in their niche and they're not making any money, very, very bad sign. Probably should not go after that product. You don't need a lot of money to be happy. You don't need to make $10 million or $100 million or $1 billion to feel happy. You can actually choose to feel happy today. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you guys are doing well. Well, let's get into it. Tonight, we have a special guest. He's a friend of mine as well. Can I call you a student or no? Are you technically a student or no?
Technically, I was the first student.
Technically, you were the first student. Yeah, I guess technically that's technically correct. All right. Well, we got an exciting one here tonight because we have one of our OG students of FBA Masterclass, a good friend of mine, Daniel McGill from Vancouver. And I wouldn't bring him on tonight because, oh man, such an incredible journey, huh? Every single time I hear you do well on Amazon, I think of the first time we met at WeWork. I just can't help it because it's such a, call it coincidence, call it luck, call it faith, call it grace, call it whatever you want to call it. But what a great, great story, right? So Daniel, why don't you share with people the very first time that you and I came across each other? How do we meet? And yeah, maybe just give everybody a little backstory.
It's funny because I'm actually at WeWork right now. Let's see if I can pan over a little bit.
Oh,
so I'm back.
You're trying to attend another seminar or what? You're hoping that there's another seminar there that you can attend?
But yeah, basically, I was just working out of WeWork, sorry. And Tom did one of his first, I guess, presentations. You did a talk in front of maybe 50 people or something. And yeah, I was just working here at WeWork. I had a membership and I just heard you start talking about Amazon and you were talking about the numbers you were doing and the products. And then I just slowly closed my laptop and I was like, wait, what did this guy just say? So I listened in on your talk and got super interested in Amazon. And then afterwards, I just was asking you every question I could. I was like, how do you ship the products from the factory into Amazon? How do you do this? And you're just join my Facebook group. I was like, okay. But yeah, that's pretty much how we met. And
that was in 2018, I believe. I think it was 2018. Fast forward 5 years down the road. Can you tell us a little bit about your accomplishments within this Amazon space, what you've been able to accomplish and how Amazon has changed your life?
Yeah, so it really went from just trying to do a side hustle. Basically, I wanted to do Amazon to pay my rent, which wasn't very much at the time. I was living with a bunch of roommates and I just wanted to make enough to pay rent. And it slowly turned into okay, I'm going to launch another product. Just kind of kept reinvesting the profits back into more products. And then had my first exit at the start of COVID, right. Or kind of during the COVID start. So there was a lot of people buying products on Amazon. My products in particular were things that people were kind of almost panic buying during COVID.
You were selling toilet paper or what?
I wish I would have had a way higher exit, but it was food packaging, basically. Weed packaging or food packaging was the first brand I sold. Yeah, so during COVID, the sales picked up a lot, decided to exit that brand just so that I could basically buy an apartment in Vancouver. And that was the first exit I had. And then after that, reinvested a lot of the profits into the second store. I actually launched 2 stores. One of them I still have right now. And then one was recently sold a week ago. So 2 exits and that's the plan. Just every year, I just want to have an exit, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty good damn plan. That sounds good to me. I mean, who else in this room would like to have that plan every single year? And when people say, when you say the word exit, a lot of people maybe not familiar with that word. Like, what does that mean?
It just means that like pretty much once your store has been selling for about a year, I think the minimum period might be like 6 months, and you have a couple products. I think the minimum is you might need to have 3 products depending on like who the company you're going with is. But once you kind of have a brand, a couple products, a year of sales history, you can list your brand for sale, your Amazon store for sale, and then an investor or a company might be interested in like buying your Amazon store for a multiple. Usually it's between like 30 to 60 times monthly profit. And they just like buy your account, you switch out all the information, you switch out your corporation details or whatever, and then switch it over to them.
And where would you sell these accounts on? Like other brokers or websites that you can go to, or?
Yeah, so the best one I think that I've encountered is Empire Flippers. It's the company I used to sell my first brand, and they were really awesome. So I'd recommend going with them. They seem to have like the largest pool of buyers, and yeah, they do like a free audit of your business. So if you're curious what your business would be evaluated at, you can get Empire Flippers to look at it.
Gotcha. So basically, yeah, I mean, 1 year, right? Your business has to be 1 year old. And then obviously, ideally, it should be profitable. And so let's just say you make 5,000 bucks a month in profit. Okay. So what Daniel was saying is that your business can get valued anywhere between, did you say 30 to 40x, or what was the number you said?
Yeah, like between 30 to I would say like 50x. It just depends on like what niche you're in and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. So just, I mean, I don't do math top of my head, but let's say you do $5,000 per month times 30. So you can sell that store for 150,000 on the low end. But let's say that your store does $5,000 a month, and you said, sorry, what was the high end?
Like 50, so
Okay,
50
times
times
50.
45.
So you can sell that for $250,000. Now, what made you sell your store? Because a lot of people are like, oh, if I have a store that's making me $5,000 a month, like why would you sell the thing? So like I'm curious to know what made you sell the first time and what made you sell the second time.
So both times I was having issues with like inventory restrictions. So pretty much for some reason, like around kind of like Christmas time, Amazon just decides to like really limit how many products you can send in to your store. So I had a couple products that were a bit slower, and for that reason, like it was hard for me to launch new products just because of the restrictions. So that was one of the reasons, because it's like even if I wanted to launch a new product, I can only send in like 500 units or something. So that was like one of the major reasons, was just dealing with that restriction. Another reason is just like sometimes like more competitors come in, more people try and copy your product. So like the longer you're kind of selling the same product, the more I would say at risk you are of like people copying your design or your product or trying to undercut you. So if you can just like get in, hit a year of good sales and then get out quickly, like it's worked pretty well for me so
Yeah,
far.
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, again, super crazy story. And yeah, I mean, just what an incredible journey you've been on. So it's really been cool to like kind of watch you grow as an entrepreneur. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the very first step of building an Amazon business, right? Which is product research. Can you give us some tips on how you were able to find these products?
Yeah, so some things that have really helped me with product research, I think I've mentioned on one of these calls before, is like looking at Pinterest for product designs, looking at Etsy for product designs, because like really you want to launch something that's unique to page one. You want to like differentiate. So it's like using Pinterest, Etsy is a great place to like find product ideas. Even like high-end home decor websites like West Elm or something, you can get like a lot of
CB3,
inspiration. Yeah,
CB2, or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, so like because people are willing to pay like a premium for for those products. So their designs must be like really good, and you can get kind of like inspiration for stuff you want to do. And then like I used a lot of like product polling. So our mutual friend Andre has a software called Product Pinion. That's like a good polling software. So what he did was basically you can set it up so it's like simulating an Amazon search. So like it'll look like page one Amazon, and it'll have the competitors on there, and then it'll have like your product idea, and then they can like vote based on like what product they would buy. So that's a good software to use. And yeah, I mean, those are some good tips.
Yeah. So what else though? Are you looking for low ticket items, high ticket items? Are you looking for like what categories are you looking at?
Yeah, so recently I've been looking more at like high ticket products, more expensive stuff, even like oversized products. And just because like it seems to be easier to do PPC and Amazon marketing on more expensive products. It just seems to be easier to get your like ACoS down if you have like more bless you, man. I can see you're sneezing over there. It just seems to be easier to get the ACoS down if the product's more expensive. So I like to go after like products over, let's say $40 now. Whereas before I would launch products like between $15 to $30. And now I'm kind of looking at more like over $40, $50.
Right. But you were still able to make the ones between 15 to 30 work.
Yeah, yeah. It just was like with those products, I was doing a lot more like giveaways at the beginning. And then with the high ticket products, I can kind of rely more on PPC, which is nice because giveaways is just like Amazon's kind of been ramping down on doing stuff like that. So trying to do mostly PPC is like been a lot easier.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Cool. So you look for products a little bit more expensive now. You said you find Etsy and Pinterest for design, which is what we teach in the course as well. You had mentioned about product opinion. You had mentioned about the price point, which is something I just said. Is there anything else? Like, what about reviews? Like, if you find a product like cell phone cases, like how do you gauge kind of like the competition, whether you like want to go into that niche or not? Or do you not really care? Like, you're like, hey, if I can have this really cool design that no one offers, then I can kind of play in the category. And then, so that's question one, right? Competition. Question two is, what about demand? How do you gauge demand? Do you look at BSR? Do you look at search volume? How do you go about doing those two things?
Yeah, so I rely pretty heavily on the design. Because sometimes there's like products that you'll see and like nobody on page one has a lot of reviews. So you're like, oh, this is a good opportunity. But then you jump in and then other people jump in and then like it becomes super crowded. So I kind of just try to not focus on like how many people have reviews and just focus on like creating a better product design. And then I do look at a lot of search volume. Like obviously I want to see that there's enough search volume and enough keywords I can rank for, just in case, like, let's say one of the major keywords for whatever reason isn't converting on my product listing, I can rank it for a few other keywords and kind of be safe there. So I like to see like a lot of different keywords I can go after. And then, yeah, they should have like a decent amount of search volume. Like I think like at least the main keyword should probably have at least 20K or something.
Gotcha. So you don't care about the reviews. Like it's literally something you don't look at, or you look at it and you're like, whatever. Like, I'm still trying to understand your mindset around reviews.
Yeah, I mean, I look at them like if they have like 50,000 or something, like that's probably it's probably too many. But if like there's people on page one who have under 100 and they're still selling well, then that kind of shows me like, okay, reviews aren't the only factor in people's purchasing.
Right.
So yeah, like if I see, usually there's like 5 or so people on page one with under 100 reviews, and you can see how they're selling. If they're getting absolutely dominated, then you probably shouldn't do that niche. But
Right.
if there's like some new products, one guy has 20 reviews, but he's still selling 20K a month, then that's like a pretty good sign, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think what Daniel said is absolutely gold, right? So always like when you guys are doing product research, right? Yeah, if I were you, I would definitely listen to this. If you're doing product research, always check out what I would filter. Like I would almost filter people based on the reviews, and I will simply take a look at from the lowest reviews, how much money they're doing. Because if the low reviews can make money, that's a really good sign. Now, if everybody, let's say, who has less than 100 reviews in their niche and they're not making any money, very, very bad sign. Probably should not go after that product, right? Does that make sense for everybody? I want to make sure everybody understands this concept, right? Like, go to Helium 10, go to Viral Launch, whatever tool you guys use, sort by reviews, take a look at the low review count, see how much money they're making. If all of them are just not making any money, probably not a good niche for you. Why? Because people are probably very heavily dependent on the review count to make their purchase decision. Now, there's some categories where people don't really care about reviews. They're like, hey, if this is a design, this is a nice photo, nice video, like nice copywriting, whatever it might be, then like I don't need to go with the number 5, number 1 review. Does that make sense for everybody? Cool. All right. Let's keep talking. So, okay, once you find the product idea, right, and you find something that, and I think another point that you made really clear is that you're trying to find a product that doesn't exist on Amazon yet. I mean, the product itself exists, but the design of it doesn't exist. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, keep telling us. So like, once you find that, what's the next step?
So what I like to do is like really chat with my manufacturer quite a bit. Like if I find a manufacturer that can make the product I'm looking for, I'll like see what else they can make, like see if they have any suggestions for new designs, like what materials they can use, because sometimes they can like switch out like the material and then all of a sudden your cost drops a lot. So I try and like talk with them about other stuff that they can launch. And yeah, like with the first, like with both stores, pretty much it was just one factory that did. So the first store had, can't remember how many SKUs. I think it was like 8 or something, all the same factory. And then kind of same story with the second one as well. So I like to just like build a good relationship with the factory and then get their recommendations, see what other materials they have, and then try and just order like a ton of product with them.
Yeah, that's super smart, right? I mean, your manufacturer is more than just a factory. Your manufacturer is your partner. Without your partner, without your manufacturer, like your business stands on nothing. So I think that's super smart. They are the ones that are formulating or creating these products on a daily basis. So they obviously know what goes into it. Do you care if it's a trading company or a manufacturer, or you don't really care about that?
I try and work with manufacturers, although sometimes it's kind of hard to tell, like if they're a trading company or not. But yeah, they like usually work with the manufacturer directly.
One way that you can, if you want to do it, is basically send in a sourcing agent and then just get them to do like the audit of the factory.
Yeah, should do that.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. But cool, awesome. All right, so I think those are pretty good tips. Can you talk to us a little bit about maybe your ranking? Earlier you mentioned giveaway, now you mentioned PPC. So how do you go after ranking? What is your philosophy? How do you get reviews? Yeah, like all that good stuff.
So reviews, I'll typically always use the Vine program now. I'll just like max out the Vine program to get the initial reviews.
What about ranking?
There's like, I mean, it depends like if you want to use like black hat tactics or not, or say like above the terms of service. I mean, the right answer is to say like use PPC and like try and build up a following on Instagram or TikTok and then drive that traffic to your product. Another strategy that I recently heard about is to drive traffic to Facebook group. And you basically offer to give away some of your product for free to people in the Facebook group. So they have an incentive to join your Facebook group. And then you can give them, so basically you can reward people for engaging with your content inside the group. So every time they comment, they have a chance to like win one of your products for free. So I heard that method works really well. Is like building a really engaged Facebook group, giving away your product for free, and then incentivizing people to like engage with the posts inside the group. And then in terms of like black hat ranking, like, I don't know if people should dive too much into that. It's kind of getting phased out, I would say. You kind of want to be going more towards like not doing shady ranking, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree. So one of the ways like Christina has been launching her brand is exactly the Facebook group method, right? So she will basically run a bunch of Facebook ads. She will try to get people to join a Facebook group. And then in the Facebook group, you can communicate. Like one thing, guys, you have to understand, right? If you have an audience, if you know how to build an audience, if you know how to build, and this is one thing that Amazon sellers are just so bad at, right? Because we're spoiled. That's why. Because Amazon gives you the audience. So we're all like just like super spoiled. If you're trying to build like a direct to consumer company off of Amazon, you have to have your own audience. So you need people to follow you along on this journey, right? So once you can build an audience, you can then direct all that traffic. You can direct all that attention towards your Amazon listings. And then Amazon loves it when you send in external traffic, when you send traffic from Facebook, when you send traffic from Google, when you send traffic from anywhere else. They love it because you are essentially bringing them customers. Okay. So I think building an audience going forward is so important, right? And in the course, we touch base on like different ways to build an audience, document your journey. There's a friend of mine, Damien. He's been, doing a great job at building an audience, and all he does is really just documenting his business journey. And then people are like, oh my God, like I want to be a part of this, and I want to support the company. I want to support him. So it's just such a great way to build an audience that way. But of course, it's not necessary. Like Daniel, you didn't really build an audience for your brand, right?
Not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I had so for the second one, the second store, I had like a Instagram page that was formerly a home decor Instagram page. So like it would post photos of like people's living rooms or whatever, their like office setups. So it was like people following that page were like really interested in home decor and like restyling their house and stuff. And so basically I rebranded that page to the brand name of the Amazon store, and then started posting content about the products onto that Instagram page, because people were already interested in like home decor and that kind of thing. So when they saw the products, they're like, oh, like where do I buy this? And it's kind of like, but then I don't know, it seemed to work pretty well, but I don't know how it would work with other products.
Yeah.
Like for home decor, it seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm not sure. I don't think Isaac is on the call tonight, but he's one of our students. And yesterday, he showed me a screenshot, and he did like close to, I think, like 37K in sales in one day because an influencer posted about his product and went viral. Like it was absolutely insane. Like $37,000 in one day. Crazy. But the only reason why it went viral is because he differentiated. His product is a little bit different, right? And to be honest, it's not even a sexy product in my opinion. Sorry, Isaac, if you're listening to this. But it's like, I don't think it's like a sexy product, right? It's not a product where like, I'm shocked at the fact that it went viral, but I guess the video is very well done. And man, like $37,000, and then he went out of stock, right? And he's like, oh man. So obviously a really good problem to have. That's what I was trying to say. Cool. So Daniel, I'm like curious to know. I mean, I know that you wanted to start your Amazon journey from day one, and you just want to pay for rent, which is maybe how much was the rent back then? 500, $1,000 a month?
$1,000, yeah.
$1,000. And you know what? There's something to be said about that mindset. I think it's so important. Okay. When I first started my Amazon business, I wanted to just make I was like, I want to make $1,000 a month so I can pay for like food and drinks. When like, who doesn't like free food? Who doesn't like free drinks? That's my goal. Like that was literally my only goal. So I think there's something to be said about setting your expectation and your goal so that you can actually achieve them. Because a lot of people actually, they're like, oh, this Amazon thing, I want to make $1 million the first year. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I also want to make $1 million, but like, you don't know anything about Amazon. You don't even know like what $1 million looks like in terms of like how many products you need to have and so on and so forth. So I feel like having a goal that is very attainable is super critical. Like, what are your thoughts around what I just said?
Yeah, 100%. Because then you're just like, you're not like super bummed if you're not hitting, like if you're trying to like, let's say you're trying to replace your salary or something, and like, you're not doing that with your first product, then you're going to be super bummed about not hitting that goal, right? Whereas if you're
Yeah.
just trying to like do a small amount, like pay for food or pay for rent, and when you hit that goal, then you're like, oh shoot, now if I do this 10 more times, like I can like, I can move into a nicer place or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah. So what's I'm curious to know, like, what's life like for you now that you're a self-made millionaire, Mr. Daniel McGill? What is it like to be a millionaire at the age of, how old are you?
26.
26. All right. What is it like? Tell us about how it feels like to like ha- let's talk a little bit deeper. Let's talk a little bit more philosophical, but I don't know. You're only 26, so I don't know how deep I can go with you. But uh has it been has money been everything that you ever thought it would do for you? Are you like a million times happier than you were 2 years ago, 3 years ago? We didn't have much money.
I mean, I live in Vancouver, so I'm still broke as shit, man.
Yeah, that's true. You are broke.
No, but no, like so after the first exit, like it was very much just like buying a place, trying to like I almost like spent it as quickly as possible, like traveled. I was kind of almost like scared to hold the money in the bank because I'm like, oh, inflation's just gonna eat up the money. I gotta like spend this. And then now I'm like, I just wanna, I don't know. I just want to like not have stress. That's like the main goal now. It's just like no stress. Like interest rates are rising and stuff, but I'm chilling. Like I'm not super worried about it. I don't want stress. I don't want any more bills. I don't want a new car. I just want to like not think about shit, man. That's basically it.
Yeah. And do you feel like you're there where there's like no stress? Or do you feel like now there's a different type of stress?
Yeah, the banks are closing down, man. So there's a different kind of stress now, but no, it's it's all good. Really now it's just like focusing on building another store and not buying dumb shit. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, I think you've done a pretty good job at not buying dumb shit. I don't think I've ever seen you putting any dumb shit on your Instagram or anything like that. What was one thing you bought that you just like spoiled yourself? I mean, you go on a lot of trips, which is great. But was there anything that you bought that's like a big purchase? Like mine was like a car and a watch. Like, was there?
Yeah, I spent a lot on traveling. I bought a motorcycle, which wasn't cheap. I think, yeah, like the motorcycle is probably worth more than my car now. But nothing crazy. Yeah, mostly traveling and then the condo or the whatever. Yeah, first time was the biggest purchase.
Yeah, fair enough. But would you say you're like 5 times happier than before? Would you say you're a lot happier than before, or what's the answer to that question? Does money buy happiness, Daniel? People want to know, man. People want
You
to
tell
know.
me. You tell
Oh
me,
no,
man.
I've shared my feelings about this subject, but I want to talk to a innocent 26-year-old. My brain has been, I've seen too much. I've seen too much in the world.
I mean, it's great knowing that you can just like go traveling for a month, right? Like so many of my friends are like, they get vacation time and they don't get time off. And they're just like, if I was you, I would just like travel all year round and like, leave for Vancouver winter and like come back for the summer. And like just knowing I can do that is like pretty awesome. So I would say that gets some happiness points for sure. But yeah, it's not like I don't know. How would you say it, man? I
No,
probably
I'm
feel the
asking
same
you.
way you
You're
do.
the I'm this is an interview for you, not for interview for me. You can just say it. I'm genuinely curious. This is a very selfish question. It's for Tom, actually.
I would say I'm a little bit happier because like I'm not like working some shitty job. I'm not living in a basement suite. I'm not eating at McDonald's every day, although sometimes I am. I don't know. Like, yeah, so in like health wise better. location where I'm living better, so that affects my happiness. I live closer to the beach now. Before I was living like in a basement, so it's like big difference. Bought a dog, that's like another 10 points for happiness. So yeah, definitely all contributes to the happiness meter. It's
Yeah.
like getting
What
closer
are
to the
some
red
what are
line.
some downsides? Are there any downsides?
I guess like sometimes friends just like expect you to like pay for everything, or like, which I don't really care, but you kind of notice that a bit more. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you can afford it. Like, just buy me this. It's like,
Oh,
what?
what? Who are you hanging out with around, man?
I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we didn't get too deep there, but it's okay. Maybe
Okay, take me deeper, Tom. I wanna go deeper.
um
What do you say?
I think happiness is an internal thing, and you can't be happier. You can be happier temporarily with any sort of external things. But if you want to have like long lasting happiness, it's got to be something internal. So there are millionaires and billionaires who are very, very sad, like who lives a really bad life. There's been cases where the richest people in the world have like taken their own lives. They don't want to live anymore. Why? You have to ask yourself why, right? Because I think something I lately have been thinking a lot about is we all, us human beings, see, the thing is like we think we're all special. Like we think, I'm special, like you're special and whatever. But we're really not. Like we're all like at the end of the day, we all like kind of want the same things in life. We all want happiness. We all want fulfillment. We all want peace. We will all want safety. Like these basic things we're all looking for. And I feel like a lot of times, basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you don't need a lot of money to be happy. You don't need to make $10 million or $100 million or $1 billion to feel happy. You can actually choose to feel happy today. And not saying that you're not going to build a business and like you just going to become a monk and do nothing with your life. But what's cool is that you can kind of approach this journey, with this entrepreneurial journey, with a different spirit. So instead of saying, one of the things that was very motivating for me was the fact that people didn't really believe in me. So I'm like, I'm going to go out there and prove everybody they're wrong so I can feel happier. Right. There's always that, like, why do you want to prove everybody wrong? It's so I can feel more worthy for myself. I can feel happier about myself. I can feel more prouder of myself, these things internally. So I went out and kind of did all that. And at the end of the day, I just realized like no one even give a shit at the first place. Like no one was really like thinking about me. Like everybody's thinking about themselves. You know what I mean? But that was kind of my driving fuel. And I feel like we're all like kind of, we're like cars, right? And for cars, you can put different fuel inside, right? So what kind of fuel are you putting in yourself to get you along this journey, to motivate you along this journey? And that fuel type is actually very, very important. You can put any gasoline, you can put the cheapest gasoline in, and you can probably still go to where you want to go. But that has damage on the car. And I think the fuel that we put in ourselves, our mindset, our motivation, like why we want to do this journey, who we're doing this journey for, really like the deep, deep stuff. Once you understand that you're enough, you are approaching this journey with a lot more curiosity, a lot more beginner's mindset, rather than a lot of stress. Like, oh man, like I have to do product research again. Shit, like, oh, I have to because if I don't, I'm a quitter and I got to prove this person they're wrong. Or you could be like, dude, I'm doing this for myself. I don't care if it wins or loses. Like, I'm curious about this journey, like I'm curious about if I can do this or not. Like, whether it succeeds or fails, like it doesn't affect me internally. You know what I mean? So I do feel like, yeah, it's very interesting, right? People join FBA Masterclass because they want to make more money, obviously. That's like what I'm teaching, right? But for me, personally speaking, I've gone on this like very, very interesting path where, I have been poor, I have been rich, but there are definitely things that is not. See, the thing is, like, there's two different types of happiness, right? One is temporary. Like, if you take drugs right now, if you take a hit of like crack, I've not done crack myself, but like, I've heard stories. No, I'm just kidding. But I would imagine that we'll all get pretty happy. Like, that's why people are addicted to it, right? So much dopamine gets released in their system, and you feel euphoric. You feel like you're you feel like you're in the king of the world. You feel like God, probably, right? That's why it's so addictive. But that's temporary. That's very, very temporary. And I feel like the temporary happiness is a very, very bad type of happiness. I think like the long lasting happiness, the internal happiness, that's like what we're all chasing after. Look, at the end of the day, guys, like I want to teach all of you to have financial freedom, right? There's 4 different types of freedoms. Can anybody name them? Actually, I'm curious to know. Type them in the chat. What kind of freedoms are there? There's 4 different types. There might be more, but in my books, there's 4 different types. Daniel, can you name some freedoms?
Health,
Mm,
wealth. I'm going off the 4 that you so
okay,
I guess those
so
aren't freedom. Okay, let's start with we could do like location freedom,
okay, perfect. Location freedom,
time freedom,
time freedom,
financial freedom.
financial freedom. That's right. What's the
Is
last
there
one?
someone in the comments help me out here?
The last one is inner peace. Yeah, mental freedom, spiritual freedom,
There we
inner
go.
peace freedom, whatever you want to call it, right? Because ultimately, I know a lot of really rich people that do not have this. Like they really don't have this. They have financial freedom, but they don't have mindset freedom. They don't have spiritual freedom. They don't have peaceful freedom. And I truly believe this is the freedom that we all want. We just have different paths of actually getting here. Like how many of you want to be a billionaire, but you're anxious, depressed, your family hates you? Like, not a lot of people, I don't think, right? So I just think that on this journey to financial freedom, don't forget why you're actually doing this at the first place. Like you're doing this because hopefully one day you want to experience the inner peace freedom, which is all like we're all thriving. Yeah. So that's a little bit about that, I guess. Any questions, Daniel, about it's all right. It's all right. Some people don't think about these things. I think you're just like, a guy who just like live life, be happy. Right.
Yeah, man. I want to come to Tony Robbins with you, man.
Yeah,
Like
shit.
you're
Tony Robbins.
inspiring.
Yeah, he put some stuff in my head that I can't stop thinking about, which no, but I think I really this week I listened to a podcast and it really, so here's the thing, right? Guys, I really want all of you to listen. I think I have a lot going on in my life and I'm in a very, very grateful and blessed situation. Okay. I understand that. Trust me. I get that. I was just a boy born and raised in China. My dad was a farmer. My mom was, nobody. Like we didn't come from any money at all. Okay. It's not like I was born with they call it the lucky sperm club or a silver spoon in my mouth. Okay. None of that was given to me. I know what it feels like where my parents had to work three different jobs to put food on put food on the table and stuff like that. So I know where I came from and I'm very, very blessed and grateful to be in the situation I am today. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. Shit. But yeah, I was watching this podcast this week, which I posted in the Facebook group, which I highly recommend every single one of you to go watch. It's just such incredible, guys. I don't listen to podcasts more than once, like the podcast episode. I listened to this 3 times and I might have to listen to it 4 times, this time with a paper and a pen, because I actually have to like write things down. It was that good. So I posted in the Facebook group, go watch that. Okay. But it's just, man, I lost my train of thought. Shit. Sorry, guys. I had something good to say and then now I don't have anything good to say. So
why did you listen to the podcast 3 times? Like what was something in the podcast that like stuck in your brain?
Yeah, so it talked about how we are all trying to fill our internal happiness with external things, and those external things cannot make yourself internally happy. Oh, I remember now. Okay, so I have a lot going on in my life. I'm very grateful. I'm very blessed, and however, I felt like there was something that was missing. Like I have all this. Why is it that I don't feel super, 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 super happy? And that really, really bothered me because I'm like, shit, if I have all this and it doesn't make me happy, then what? Like, do I need to go out and make more money? Do I need to build more businesses? Do I need to do X, Y, and Z? So all these external things, right? And what I learned was that we're not meant to be happy 24/7. That's a myth. You actually don't want to be happy 24/7 because everything has an opposite. There's dark. There can be darkness without light. There can be light without dark, right? There can be black without white. So there needs to be these bad human emotions. But what I realized I was doing wrong was that I was expecting myself to be happy 24/7. And that's like saying you want to be bright outside 24/7. That's like saying you want to be sunny 24/7. That's like saying you don't want to rain 24/7, right? What I realized myself was that, man, we're not meant to be 24. We're not meant to actually be, we're not meant to be happy 24/7. What we're meant to do actually is be okay with the sadness, being okay with the anger, being okay with the darkness per se. And when those moments come, you are kind of like an observer, right? There's a great saying. It's like the moment is not bothering you. You are bothering yourself about the moment. Like if you think about that for like the moment is not bothering you, you're bothering yourself about the moment. We give ourselves, like we are so hard on ourselves. Our mind plays tricks on us. It is so interesting that once I realized that, it's like, hey, okay, I'm not going to be happy 24/7, but I have to be okay with not being happy 24/7. That's when I accept the things like, hey, this is just life. This is how it is. So I just thought that was a really, really powerful exercise that I just went through. Yeah, things have been really good recently. Like I was in a pretty like dark, I personally haven't grown this much as a person ever. Like I was a boy even just a year ago. I was a little boy, I was a little boy. And I feel like I'm a man now based on the experiences that I went through. And I want to share this with my audience. Again, although you all follow me for money making tips, and I was really passionate about sharing money making tips because money was something that I thought was going to make me super happy. And it was something that I thought was going to solve all problems. It solved some problems. It didn't solve all problems. The major ones it didn't solve, the easy ones it did solve. I feel like I've discovered something better than money. Like, I feel like I've discovered something. And for me, my personality is once I discover something really good, I share it with people. My life coach called me like a preacher. He's like, you just like to preach. You just like to say stuff. Some are useless, but some are meaningful. So for me, it's like, all right, guys, I found something that is even better, but I think I need a blend of both, right? If you guys didn't sign up for a spiritual course, you guys sign up for kind of making money, but I also want to teach you all to be happy. At the end of the day, if what a misery if I interview Daniel tonight. He's like, oh shit, like my life sucks, like this, that, like, oh, what a bummer. So yeah, anyways, any questions for Daniel, by the way? And guys, we cannot disclose Daniel's second store because it's under NDA, which is a contract. People don't want to know, but I can promise you he sold it. So what are any questions for Daniel? This is a good time to ask the man. Any questions for Daniel? Have you started golfing? What was Vine? I don't know what that means.
Oh, you're probably talking about Vine program. Vine program is like if you have a trademark, Amazon will give your product away to people to leave reviews. And so you can get a lot of reviews really quickly by doing the Vine program, but you need to have a trademark.
Yeah. How do you choose the right product? We talked about that earlier, so you can rewatch the call. We're not going to answer that. The category, again, probably best to not even mention the category. What was your greatest challenge?
So I would say the inventory restrictions was annoying because you have to time when your products are going in. You have to sometimes use a 3PL. You have to get the factory to store the product for you sometimes. And then apart from that, just addressing 1-star issues as quickly as possible. So every time someone would leave a 1-star review, we would screenshot it, send it to the manufacturer and just be like, we need to fix this as soon as possible. And just trying to minimize any 1-star reviews and problems and get those fixed ASAP.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Daniel did use an agent. He used what are they called?
Empire Flippers.
Empire Flippers. What was your highest degree? Ooh, this is a good one.
What was my what?
Highest degree. Education.
I dropped out of BCIT, so nothing.
Nice. High school.
Yeah.
Did you start by yourself or did you have a partner?
Started pretty much by myself. although I would say you helped me like quite a bit in the beginning. Yeah, so I would say Tom is like sort of my partner in the beginning,
I
but
was.
mostly
How much?
so well like
How much money did I? How much percentage of the store did I own? Partners usually
no
own equity.
no.
Shit, I can come to your house and ask for a check, right?
You can, but
Yeah, but you're not gonna give it to me.
maybe I will.
That's all right.
Happiness is not about money, man. So maybe I will.
Oh, all right, all right. This is a good question. How do you test for product market fit? This is a really good question.
I mean, I like nowadays I try and not go crazy with the first order. So like, some people will order like 2,000 units or 1,000 units. I like to start with like 300 units and just let it run out of stock if it needs to. Because then I know like, okay, it's gonna sell when it gets back into stock.
Hmm.
Because you don't want to get stuck with like 1,000 units and they're not moving, because then you're going to have to liquidate it or lower the price. So a good way is just to start with like 300 units and just let those sell out, and then you can kind of gauge like how much inventory you need. So
Right.
yeah.
And then when you restock, do you start a new listing?
So like I can tell pretty quickly like if the product's gonna be selling well, like within the first 2 weeks, like you can kind of gauge how well it's gonna sell. And as soon as I see it starting to pick up, I'll place a bigger order like right away. And then if it's selling really quickly, I'll raise the price to get some profit out of it. But usually it's only out of stock for like, at most a month if I can time it right. And then you can also air ship in like 100 units or something just to keep it in stock. But yeah, I prefer to do that kind of stuff rather than ordering like, 1,000 units and then having it slowly sell like a couple units a day kind of thing. But
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
fair.
my method. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I think there's pros and cons to both, right? So I think for people with low budget, for beginners out there, I think Daniel's way is definitely a good way to go about doing that. How do you know that you're actually selling well? Well, you just know, right? You check your app and sales are coming in, like, and you're not doing that much work to make it work. Like you're turning on PPC, you're doing everything, and you're getting 5, 10, 15 sales a day. That's like a really good, like you will kind of like, it's a weird thing to explain, but you'll just kind of know, like you're not trying so hard to try to push this cart up a hill. It's kind of just like rolling by itself. It's like effortless in a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, I think that might be all the questions. Cool. Well, thank you, Daniel. I'm super, super happy for you. It's been amazing. I'm like, but man, like what I should be doing this stuff, I should be launching like products and go for a little exit, like what, not, sorry, not little, but I should go for an exit like once a year kind of thing, Oh, how do you deal with 1-star reviews? That's a good question.
So you can offer them a refund if you have a trademark. And then, yeah, I try and like, as soon as I see it, like it's usually because there's like a problem with the product and I just instantly try and solve that problem. And like, so yeah, you can offer them a refund if you have a trademark. And then you can also like open cases with Amazon if the review's like kind of unfair or unwarranted, but usually they will not take away the 1-star review. And I've heard of people, you can like potentially find them on Facebook and message them, but I think that's against TOS. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody's time. Daniel, you inspire me. I might do some product research after the call tonight and try to sell a little business, sell some of my business going too. And one exit a year.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Keep the doctor away.
Exit Masterclass.
Exit Masterclass. Cool. If people want to follow you anywhere, is there a place that people can like follow you and stuff?
danmcgill.ig on Instagram is good.
danmcgill.ig
that's it.
on Instagram. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, buddy. Well, really excited. I'm sure we'll probably have another interview when you sell your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th brand. So really, really cool. And yeah, again, super inspiring. And we will chat very soon. And thank you everybody for attending. Hopefully that you're seeing a kid from, just trying to make $1,000 a month, dropped out of BCIT, no like high school education, becoming a multimillionaire in a very short period of time. he dropped a bunch of golden gems at the very beginning of this pod. So I would re-listen to those and follow the footsteps. You know, I met Daniel 5 years ago, and I remember him asking me questions, and I told him like, this is my course, like just take it. And he just, I don't know, he just did his thing. Like he just all of a sudden he started selling stores. So um yeah, I don't know what else to say. So anyways, congrats and thank you everybody. I hope you all have a good night, and I'll see. Oh, by the way, guys, next week and going forward, the time is starting at 5 p.m. Okay, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Right now, all the calls are 6 p.m. Pacific time. Going forward, it's going to be 5 p.m. Pacific time going forward. Okay, starting next week. So thank you all. I'll see all you next week. Bye.